Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. This program is suitable for general viewing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome. Today being the 8th of March and few days to Ramadan, I want to welcome you to our full bulletin stories that we give it to you each and every Friday morning. And first, I want to apologize since we've started late due to some technical hitches. But before that, we have plenty of good stories that we want to update you with. But first, let us get to the headlines.
And we want to appeal to all Kenyans, Muslims and non-Muslims, to come forward and contribute.
Gaza Campaign 2024. Muslim leaders in Kenya launches a funds drive to support Gaza as Israel continues its military attack on Palestine.
Sisi hatuna bunduki, hatuna intelligence, hatuna lolote. Musikae na mukatulaghai hapa kila siku. Mukae mutuambie ya kuwa twawajua, tutawashika, tutafanya nini, washikeni.
Arrest drug barons. Mombasa governor lashes out at the government, accusing it of failing to deal with the drug menace at the coast.
Nilikuwa natamani Uislamu sana, lakini ile familia nakaa nayo ni Wakristo.
Ready for Ramadan. New Muslims experience their fast ahead of Ramadan that begins on Monday 11th or Tuesday 12th, subject to the sighting of the moon.
Thank you so much for choosing Horizon TV this morning. My sign language interpreter is Mariam Jamaluddin. Into our first story that deals with the people of Gaza is that Muslim leaders in the country have called on the government to make a stand and condemned the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people by Israel. Speaking at Jamia Mosque, Nairobi, the leaders led by former Mandera Senator Bill Okero said the situation in Gaza is the most tragic, catastrophic witnessed during the century. So far, more than 30,000 people have been killed in Gaza following continued attack by Israel force. The Muslim leaders have called for humanitarian support to help the survivors of the ongoing genocide.
Kenya government, which is celebrating Mashujaa Day every day, cannot come out and condemn Israel, a terrorist state. A terrorist state that is settler colonialist, which has taken somebody's land by force and do not want to give them their rights.
Jamia Mosque Nairobi, in partnership with other organizations, including the National Muslim Leaders Forum, Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, Al-Amin Mosque and Adams Mosque, through the Voices of Palestine, have launched a pay bill number 150770 and account name Gaza, aimed at raising funds for humanitarian assistance in Gaza.
We want to call upon the people of goodwill in this country to support our humanitarian appeal to the survivors of the ongoing genocide in Gaza by contributing generously to this call. And we want to appeal to all Kenyans, Muslims and non-Muslims, to come forward and contribute. Every person who's got a conscience, a human conscience, who has humanity in his heart, must stand up to support what is going on. You know, the killing of innocent women and children. Women and children are not terrorists, yet they are being killed by people who are backed by the most powerful forces countries in this world.
The initiative was unveiled through a press statement delivered at Jamia Mosque, Nairobi on Sunday, where the leaders called for urgent attention to the ongoing massacre for Palestinians by the Israeli government.
The government of Kenya has a moral obligation to stand out and condemn the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people. It has an obligation to rally other countries to support the Palestinian people. It has an obligation to rally other countries and needs to come out openly and back cases that have been filed by many countries, in the International Court of Justice. Countries poorer than Kenya have gone to the International Court of Justice. They have withdrawn their ambassadors. They have taken action. They have spoken out. Yet Kenya government does not even allow people to demonstrate in the streets of Nairobi in support of Palestinians. That's how low this country has sunk, despite the provisions of the freedom of expression in the Constitution.
According to the statement, the Muslim leaders said Israel is employing starvation tactics as a method of warfare, with reports indicating that there have been several deaths, particularly among children and newborn, from hunger.
This chilling death and injury toll occurs amidst a deliberately imposed humanitarian crisis by the Israeli authorities upon the 2.3 million residents in Gaza. 90% of the Palestinians have been displaced from their homes, and the entire Gaza has literally been destroyed. Israel is now employing starvation as a method of warfare. And you have seen the reports in the last few days. Dozens of people have already died, particularly children, of starvation.
On Sunday, over 20 people were killed and others injured when Israeli forces bombed Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip. The attack came 3 days after at least 118 Palestinians were killed and 760 others injured on Thursday last week when Israeli forces bombed a crowd waiting for humanitarian aid south of Gaza City.
The situation in Gaza is undoubtedly the most tragic and catastrophic that has been witnessed in this century. Despite the incessant calls for ceasefire from the global community, including many members of the United Nations, Israel, backed by the US and its Western allies, has chosen to ignore the calls and continued with the genocide, killing, as at now, over 30,000 people. In fact, the number of those people who have been killed, those who are buried under the rubble, those who are missing, and those who have been wounded are in excess of 150,000.
The leaders have called on the Kenyan government to call for a ceasefire and a permanent peace process that provides for creation of the Palestinian state as demanded by the United Nations.
All the organs of the United Nations spoke about the genocide that's going on at the moment. International organizations that are human rights, Amnesty International, Global Watch, and so on, all of them stood up. We also appreciate very much the citizens of the Western countries, not the governments. We condemn particularly the action of American government under the leadership of Biden. He has sacrificed the lives of millions of human beings because of votes.
Israel has launched a deadly military attack on the Gaza Strip last year in October that killed at least 30,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, with over 70,000 others injured amid mass destruction and shortages of necessities.
Regretfully, the government of Kenya has continued to bury its head in the sand with regards to Palestine up to now. When Palestinians in Gaza prison broke the fence of the prison and entered Israel and killed Israelis, Kenya was among the first countries to condemn Palestinians. But when tens of thousands of Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, who are demanding for the freedom, they are not asking for anything else, determination of freedom as provided for by United Nations from 1948 up to now, in hundreds of resolutions, the government of Kenya has been mute. They have been quiet. They cannot come out. They have not come out to condemn Israel the way other countries have done.
Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice. An interim ruling in January ordered Tel Aviv to stop genocidal acts, to take measures to guarantee that humanitarian assistance is provided to civilians in Gaza. A ruling it has ignored. Reporting for Muslim Insight, my name is Mariam Musa.
Thank you so much, Maria Musa, for that story. For our next story is that, are you ready for this Ramadan? Listen to this story. New Muslim converts known as revertees participated in their first ever fasting experience in preparation for the holy month of Ramadan. Speaking to the Muslim Insider, Khadija Kavani, who converted to Islam early this year, said it was a great experience for her, stating that fasting on Thursday served not only as a practical introduction to Ramadan fasting, but also as an opportunity for her and others reverts to build connection with the fellow Muslims ahead of Ramadan. This year Ramadan is expected to commence on Monday, March 11th or Thursday, March 12th, 2024, subjected to the sighting of the moon.
Nilipendezwa kwa Muislamu kwa sababu ya jinsi wanavyoishi pamoja, wanashare, wanakula pamoja katika hali nzuri na katika mbaya. Muislamu hawezi kukuacha. Mimi niliposlimu mwezi wa kwanza, hiyo time nilikuwa na issue mingi sana. So ile time ya kufunga nikaimagine ninaenda kwa nyumba na najua tu kwa nyumba tulikuwa na madada zangu, tulikuwa wengi na mimi tu ndio Muislamu sasa na mwanangu peke yetu. So nilipoondoka nafika nyumbani nikashindwa, ndio naenda kufunga leo kesho na sina kitu ya kufungua kesho, lakini nikawa na ile imani ya kusema kesho lazima nifunge.
Ni mara yangu ya kwanza kuwa na hii Ramadhani kufunga, na challenge yangu kubwa imekuwa kwa sababu mimi naishi peke yangu, sikuwa na tashwishi ya kula breakfast. Nilianza vizuri because nilikuwa nimekula sapa nzuri. Nikajua because nilikuwa nimeprepare my mind nikijua leo nitakuwa nafunga mara ya kwanza.
Najua wengi wenu this is the first Ramadan you're going to fast. Na it's not as hard as you thought. See, you managed to fast today. Si umeweza kufunga leo bila kula, bila kunywa, bila kustarehe na mke wako mume wako. Kwa sababu unajizuia hizi vitu vitatu. Jua kabla haijachoka mpaka jua inaposhuka. Kwa nini twafunga? Kwa nini hatukuli? Kwa nini hatukunywi maji? Kwa nini hatustarehe na wake zetu, na ile hali tumetoa mahari na tumetoa posa na tumefunga ndoa? Yote ni kuweza kucontrol matamanio yako. Wajua matamanio inakupeleka mahali pabaya, na haya matamanio lazima uweze kuidhibiti, uishikilie kwa mkono wako. Wataka kunywa maji, wasikia kiu, wasema no, madamu wakati hujafika sikunywi. Unajifundisha self discipline. Malengo ya kufunga Ramadhani ni ili upate kuwa karibu na Mwenyezi Mungu. Na huwezi kuwa karibu na Mwenyezi Mungu ikiwa wewe hauna self control, unafuata matamanio yako. Huwezi. Ima ufuate matamanio yako ama ufuate vile Mungu anavyotaka. Ni moja katika mbili. Sasa ili upate kusaidika, ili upate kucontrol matamanio yako na desires basi na shahwa, basi Mwenyezi Mungu ameleta saumu ili ujifundishe kujinyima ili hali waeza.
Nilikuwa natamani Uislamu sana, lakini ile familia nakaa nayo ni Wakristo, na niliamua tu kuslimu kwa sababu nilipenda Uislamu. Na Uislamu kuna kwanga challenges, lakini kama place nilislim hakukuwa na class kusoma, ikabidi nika travel kutafuta mafundisho, but nimekuja kujua Uislamu ina mwelekezo mzuri sana. Wakati mtu anafunga kuna kuangana challenges. Like mimi ile time nimekuwa na fast, kuna ile kitu imenikujia kwa mawazo kiniambia, una fast nini? Surudi tu mahali ulikuwa. Hata usiende kuswali, we baki tu kwa nyumba. Hata nikasikia kama mwili inaniuma, niko mgonjwa. Lakini nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. Nimefika mwisho.
Nimekuwa na challenges mingi sana. Asubuhi saa 2 mahali mimi na hustle kule, naona marafiki wanakunywa chai nzito ya maziwa, mahamri. Mimi kweli nasikia kweli nina kiu, siwezi hata, na baridi ndio hiyo, siwezi hata kunywa chochote. Wengine wananiambia, we leo nini mbaya, si unywe chai? Ule uniuzia ananiambia, leo mama unywe chai. Namwambia hapana, leo sinywi chai. Hata hakuamini, hajawahi niona hata siku moja nakosa kunywa chai. Kufika saa 4 hivi, karibu niwe tempted. Birika zingine za pita, kahawa, chai, meat pie. Jameni, karibu nivunje sheria ya kufunga. Karibu hata niitishe. Nikarudisha mkono, nikasema sasa nafanya nini? Ikiwa Ramadhani ni mwezi mmoja mzima, mbona nivunje sheria kwa siku moja hii? Si nivumilie tu.
Thank you so much for that story, and we pray that may Allah make it easy for them so that they can conclude their holy month of Ramadan fasting. Moving forward still to the matters of revertees is that Jamia Multipurpose Hall Nairobi on Saturday played host to the first ever revert workshop, which provided a platform for the new Muslims to ask questions about their new faith. Speaking during the workshop, member of Majlis Ulama Jamia Mus Nairobi Sheikh Badru Jafar encouraged the new Muslims not to despair but remain steadfast in the faith despite the many challenges they may face. The workshop provided a free interaction where the new Muslim had a chance to ask questions relating to Islam. Among the challenges raised by the reverts include lack of basic Islamic knowledge and being abandoned by members or family members. The seminar, which was organized by Masjid Al-Amin, Juja Road, was attended by reverts driven from various parts of the city. Imams of different mosques across the country have been challenged to take up the responsibility of offering revert classes. Yes, they have. Switching gears now to Mombasa counties to matters that deals with drugs is that Mombasa Governor Abdulswamad Hassan has accused the government of empty rhetoric just days after the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua accused coast leaders of remaining silent on the drug menace at the region. Now Abdulswamad has challenged the government to use the intelligence at their disposal, the DCI, and arrest the drug barons who continue to sell drugs that is threatening the future of many youth in the region.
Sisi hatuna bunduki, hatuna intelligence, hatuna lolote. Musikae na mukatulaghai hapa kila siku. Mutukae mutuambie ya kuwa twawajua, tutawashika, tutafanya nini, washikeni.
The governor was speaking at Lohana Hall in Majengo during the launch of issuance of funds to schools for the Leave No Child Behind capitation program. His sentiments come barely a week after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua attended an illicit alcohol and drug eradication conference in Mombasa, where the Deputy President urged coastal leaders to speak more on the drug menace.
Brewers of poisonous alcohol, drug peddlers and barons belong to jail. State officers abetting this illegal trade have no room under this administration.
In response, Nasir said the government was insincere with the anti-drugs war, saying despite having intelligence and all the resources to arrest barons and peddlers, they had failed in this mandate.
Muna intelligence, muna DCI, muna sijui nini, muna nini, na kama hamwezi, mimi hapa nina kikosi cha maalum, nitawaambia hawa members of county assembly tutengeze sheria, tuwe na kikosi cha maalum cha kuweza kupigana na madawa ya kulevya, mkubali ya kuwa serikali kuu mumeshindwa na janga hili.
He asked the national government to stop issuing threats and warnings and instead take action and parade the people they suspect to be behind the vice before the public.
Muna njia ya kusikiza simu za Abdul Swamad, muna njia ya kusikiza simu za Mama Zamzam na simu za seneta. Mshindwa gani kuweza kushika wale walanguzi wa madawa ya kulevya? Till when will you continue deceiving the people of Mombasa? Till when will we continue with this downward trend ya kukaa kila siku kuhadaa watu ati tutafanya? We are telling you now, fanyeni muwashike tena muwaparade mbele ya umma wa watu wote wa Mombasa ya kwa hawa ndio madawa wa kulevya wenye kuwafanya, hawa ndio tulowashika.
The deputy president on Monday revealed that the government was highly concerned by the coastal leaders who appear to have taken a backseat in the fight against illicit brew and drugs. Saida Aboud Bilail reporting for the Muslim Insight.
Thank you so much, Saida Aboud, for that story. Into our final story is that Aga Khan University Graduate School of Media and Communication launched a report showing the coverage of women in media. According to the report, there is a huge gap in the coverage of women in crucial areas including political, economic, business and entrepreneurial across newspapers, TV and digital platforms in East Africa. The study revealed that in Kenya, women predominantly miss in the headline stories of most newspapers in East Africa. They are neither mentioned nor covered in most of the headline stories, with the 23% of the sample day having no mention or coverage of women in Kenyan newspaper. The findings were from a sample of 6 newspapers, 6 TV stations, 7 digital publishers in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, and 54, 65 and 81 news media organizations from Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania respectively, whose documents and programming were analyzed.
Every 5 years since 1995, the Global Media Monitoring Project has evaluated the world's print and broadcast media for its representation of women. Its 2015 report, which stated that women make 24% of the persons heard, read about or seen in newspaper, television and radio news, exactly as they did in 2010. I'm wondering this morning, as we look at these results, how far have we moved in terms of women's representation and framing in the media? For far too long, women and girls have been misrepresented or completely left out from the data. And if data is being used to guide the creation of policies and programs, and that data is missing half the population, those policies and programs will not meet the unique needs of the missing population.
70% of the senior academic leaders in AKU, in East Africa, are women.
Nam, thank you so much for staying with us for that first half. We are taking a short break. When we get right back here, we're going to have a Friday Bulletin review with my special guest, Ummi Wabomba, and she's going to tell us more about something that deals with rivers. And I think the conversation, you're going to love it because she is my favorite person. I'm taking a short break. When I get right back, we're going to have more discussion.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Kwa kusoma Qur'an ni lazima isomwe namna ilivyoteremshwa. Asema Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, warattilil Qur'ana tartila, uwe ni mwenye kusoma Qur'ani namna ilivyoteremka. Asema Dhihaki rahimahullahu ta'ala, harfan harfa, kuisoma herufi baada ya herufi. Na ni vipi tuisoma Qur'ani?
This Ramadan.
My name is Maimuna Mohammed, a student leader. Join us this Ramadan. I'm Rukia Mohammed, a psychological counselor.
Embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery and positive change.
When changing yourself, you fall 7 times but you wake up 8 times.
We invite you to join us in a unique program.
Let this Ramadan be an opportunity for us to become a better version of ourselves and better Muslims.
Our behavior change program is not just a program.
Please join us on Horizon TV, where we'll be expounding on behavior change.
It's a holistic experience that will empower you.
What are those stages that we go through as we change behavior? In the process of changing your behavior, you're going to have setbacks.
To make meaningful shifts in your life.
I wish you all the best, and I hope that you gain a lot from this. And I wish you Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani.
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Ufahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. This is our second session and our last session where we're going to review the Friday Bulletin. With me in studio today is Ummi Wabomba. She's going to help me to figure out and also to dissect some of the parts of this Friday Bulletin. And all I want from you is just to go and get your copy so that at least you can understand more and have the full insight from the Friday Bulletin from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi. Ummi, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How is your morning?
Alhamdulillah, thank you for having me in the studio.
MashaAllah, I'm really happy and I'm glad to have you here today as well. And let us start in our first page. It's all about Ramadan. We know now each and every person is up and down because Ramadan is in the coming few days, maybe on Tuesday or
Monday
maybe
or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday, yes. Depending with the sighting of the moon. Yes.
Yes.
Now, starting with this, Chief Kadhi gave out some of his sentiments regarding the moon sight. And we know when it comes to Ramadan, everyone is like, we're waiting for the Chief Kadhi. And there are some people who also, they mention this moon thing. What is the procedure, or maybe what is your take when it comes to the matters of moon sighting in Kenya?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
I
wa
think
barakatuh.
the Friday Bulletin has ably put this as the main topic.
Yes.
Because Ramadan is Ramadan, but we always have that the beginning and the end. There's always that issue of the moon sighting. But I think from what I've seen, you've mentioned that the Chief Kadhi released some statement.
Yes.
He spoke about it.
Yes, I saw.
He acknowledged that there's been a rift among Muslims about the sighting of the moon, whether we should see the moon locally or as long as the moon has been sighted in any other part of the world. So with this coverage in the Friday Bulletin, I think I like the part where the Chief Kadhi is giving the encouragement that they have put some team in place to try and solve this issue for once and for all.
Alhamdulillah.
Because we start very well as Muslims, but people keep throwing words around about who saw which moon where, and that really breaks the brotherhood of Islam. So I'm really glad that, remember, this is a new Chief Kadhi. This is his first time in office during Ramadan.
Yes.
So everyone is waiting to see which direction is he going to
You know,
take.
some people were saying we want to see he's going to take which side.
Thank you.
If you know, you know.
Yes, if you know, you know. So everyone is waiting.
Yes.
But what I like about what he said is putting an inclusive structured mechanism in the issue of moon sighting. So we hope it won't just be for this year. Whatever solution they come up with can be for the longer term, so that we avoid, the moon is the moon really, so really it shouldn't be the one that is dividing the Muslims.
Yeah, and if still we can stick to that front page, we can see that there is something to deal with the Muslim leaders united in aid to campaign to this story of Palestine and everything. Ramadan is coming.
Yes.
We can see our fellow brothers and sisters and our Muslims in the other end. They are suffering still. They are battling up with this Israel-Palestinian war that is happening. Maybe our leaders standing up and mentioning this to the public wants the government to chip in and support it. Maybe what's your take on this?
I think I as a Muslim first and also as a Kenyan, I think I like the fact that both the Muslim leaders and other religious leaders have sustained this conversation. Because, you know, this started, of course, many years ago, but from October is when it really picked up. So I like the fact that the leaders have not tired in reminding the government of its role and talking about what needs to be done to encourage our government. You know, like South Africa as a country has gone to the international court to try and stop calling for a ceasefire. So I think it's good that our leaders are sustaining the conversation. And also for Muslims, I guess this will be a special Ramadan, because we might have our own problems, but our problems are nothing near what the people of Palestine are going through. So it's good that the leaders, both Muslims and other religious leaders, are keeping the conversation alive, because we cannot afford to forget the people in Palestine.
Yeah, and maybe following on social medias, we can see that those people in Gaza, they're really preparing for Ramadan. Despite they're living on tents, they're living in a place where you cannot call a house or a home, but you can see they have the urge, they want Ramadan to be there. And I think it's what we can learn. We personally, whom we don't face this type of maybe difficulties and troubles, we should be more appreciating to Allah. More than
I think one of the things that we've learned from the people of Gaza is, I think for me, I can use my example. We've been reading stories about the Sahabas, the early Muslims, and the challenges they went through, like the Prophet and his, peace be upon him, and his family, when they were chased out of Makkah and they were taken into some valley for some time. It used to be theory. But now, the people of Gaza are actually showing us that, it can actually happen. You can be attacked just because you are a Muslim, and you can actually be denied all the basics of life. And what happens to your iman? And the iman keeps going up. So it's a big lesson for all of us, that despite the challenges that we have to hold on to the rope of Allah. So for most of us, that's really, the people of Gaza are amazing. We pray that Allah intervenes and makes their affairs easy. But we like the fact that the rest of the world has not forgotten them totally, that the conversation is still going on.
Alhamdulillah. And now I think what they mostly face, it's all about anger. Because we've seen most of people dying out of anger now. They lack food completely. Young children, adult people, old people, now they're facing that. And I think what Jamia Mosque is trying, not only Jamia Mosque, but the CPK, I think. CIPK, it's trying to do. It's currently, let us try to support and help where we can, so that at least our brothers and sisters, because not only Muslims are in Gaza, we have even Christians there. So it is good if we can hold our hands together, so that we can support this initiative that is being mentioned out loudly.
From the Muslim leaders, I think one of the things that came out is that the Israeli government or whatever are now using starvation as a weapon. When you deny access and entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza, it means people are starving because they have no access to food. So you can imagine the levels of desperation that the people are in. But we pray that Allah will ease in their affairs, but we have to keep the conversation going. And from you and me, from the little space we have, we see what we can do, whether we can contribute towards the various pay bills that are around to help the people.
Yes, let us speak about something here to deal with the LGBTQ. MPs probe Daystar University of LGBTQ regulation discrimination. What's happening?
I think the last 1 week or 2 weeks, I think Daystar University was in the news for one reason. I think one of the main reasons was the issue of religious discrimination. I can actually confess that this is I was a student at Daystar many years ago. In fact, I think the issue of religious institutions and religious discrimination, LGBTQ, they always put plus, is an ongoing issue. And I think institutions of higher learning have to strike a balance, because there's been the argument that Daystar is based on some religious fundamentals. So you have to go, terms and conditions apply when you go there. So I think that's where the MP that is challenging their stand is coming from, that there's a constitution, and then there is what is Daystar advocating for. So for me, I think it's more of not really casting aspersions on the institution, but people having a discussion, so that yes, the institution has its guidelines, but are they necessarily denying students access to information? So I think it's an ongoing conversation that if I can use my example. When I was in Daystar, I wasn't a Muslim then. And those days, Muslims were not even allowed.
You cannot get admission?
No, 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 no. When I was there were no Muslims.
Okay.
But now they have actually accepted Muslims. So for me, it's progress. Yeah.
But
so
under under Sharia zetu sisi wenyewe.
Yeah. So for me, I see institutions that are based on whatever religious guidelines.
Yes.
It's normally a very sensitive issue. So we can't go all out and condemn, but we also can't let discrimination go on without it being called out. So I think it's an ongoing conversation, and we like the fact that it's in the limelight and people are asking questions. In fact, someone was saying, while you're busy discussing Daystar, can you also be discussing Ummi University?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are non-Muslim students allowed into Ummi University? And are they also made to
pray?
Say pray 5 times a day.
Okay.
So we are told as you call out your brother.
The morning adhkar.
Yes.
Okay, moving forward, it's all about Jamia organizes 2 days Zakat workshop here, which you took part in it as well.
Yes.
How was the Zakat workshop? For those who maybe didn't watch, which maybe later you'll get the clips from Horizon TV, inshallah.
The Zakat workshop was something else, and you know, it was being it was the guest speaker was Dr. Islam.
Yes.
Muhammad Salim.
Yes.
One of our very knowledgeable scholars that we have.
Yes.
And for me, it was an honor to be part of the participants. And I think one of the things that Dr. Islam actually made us aware is that there's a lot of ignorance about Zakah, even among us Muslims. And then there's a lot of misinformation. So we have been advised to do certain things without seeking necessarily religious guidelines with the dalil, whether it's from the Quran, from the Sunnah, and from the scholars, the fatwas that have been taken over, have been given over time. So one of the things that Dr. Islam emphasized, especially for Muslims and Zakah, you know, Zakah is one of the pillars of Islam.
Yes.
And he said, if you read the Quran or if you listen to the Quran, always when Allah mentioned Salah, there's always Zakah. They're always paired together. So what he challenged us, if Salah is going to be the first thing that we are going to be asked about on the day of judgment, we cannot afford not to know about Zakah. So he demystified some things. He even mentioned that some of us assume that Zakah is Islamic tax. Yet that is not correct, because he says, what are the definitions of Zakah and what are the definitions of tax? They cannot be the same. Zakah is a divine decree. It came through revelation. Who gives Zakah is known. Who gets Zakah is known. What kind of Zakah is on which kind of product is known. But tax is tax. It's at the whim of whichever regime.
Across.
Yeah, and no one is very clear on who should receive it, how much, and all that. So he said we shouldn't call Zakah tax. Zakah is just Zakah. Zakah is one of the pillars of Islam. Zakah is normally very close to Salah, so it's very important. So he urged all of us to seek information. And I can say we agreed with Dr. Islam. We just scratched the surface. So he said he will come back so that we are able to discuss it in more detail.
You know, the beauty of Islam,
yes,
it's all about, we don't just wanasema hatukati ushauri. We don't just conclude things with our brains and how we think. It's all about knowledge and books.
Yeah, in fact, there's one thing he said, you know, the teaching in Islam is when you give zakah, one is it's supposed to purify your wealth. Yeah, and we went into detail of purification is both for the giver and for the receiver. For the giver is to give a bit of barakah and your gratitude to Allah for the wealth. For the receiver is to remove the jealousy and envy and ain and hasad, because we are sharing after all. And then he said the other benefit of zakah is growth. So how can you be giving out and yet we are saying zakah encourages growth and prosperity of the wealth? Then he said that's where we have to go to the revelation that the growth in our wealth in terms of zakah is not by our human understanding. Allah will put blessings in your wealth and it will grow. You might not see it, you might not even see it in this world, but you might get your rewards in the hereafter. So we are geared up to know more. We actually went through a live session of calculating zakah on gold, zakah on silver, And it was very exciting.
Alhamdulillah.
So,
And
yeah.
I think to get the clips for those who didn't attend, Horizon TV will be showing it.
Yeah, actually I can mention,
Yes.
for those who are watching, Horizon TV, I think under the lifestyles, you know, you have the lifestyles and culture link.
YouTube.
Yes, it's already there. There's a car workshop
Yes.
for the first session with the ladies on Wednesday.
Yes.
The first session and the rest of the discussion is there. So most of us are sharing within our networks so that people can actually listen to Dr. Islam and benefit
more. Yeah, that's nice. And you know, Ummi, Ramadan is coming, and I want us to dive into these matters of revertees. We had a story about revertees that they fasted on Thursday,
Yes.
and most of them had their own challenges. Some saying that, which excites me the most, is that he was at the office and seeing others eating. You know, it is the first time, and he was like, chai mzito. Subhanallah, you know, and he was like asking himself, nifungue ama niendelee na kufanya kila kitu. Maybe what are some of the challenges that new Muslim, we can say revertees, they face when it comes to matters of fasting, your first Ramadan in Islam?
The first Ramadan in Islam, I don't even know whether I can remember mine, which is many, many years ago. But there's that anxiety. Will I manage? Maybe someone has never fasted all their life. Or people from the previous life could be going through that. Some fasts, I see people doing, you only take water, or you take something,
You don't
fruits.
eat meat.
Or you don't, oh yes, there's one of you don't eat meat, or you don't eat your favorite meal, whatever it is. So for many Muslims and new Muslims, reverts, the first Ramadan, before even the Ramadan starts, there's the issue of anxiety. Will I manage? I've never done this before, which is normal for a human being. Number two, they could actually start. But I think, as we'll touch on when we had the event of reverts on last Saturday, there's a lot of loneliness for reverts. Not just their daily ibadah, but Ramadan can be very lonely. Because chances are, I saw in the clip, there's someone who said, I stay alone.
Yes.
So the issue of iftar and the sense of community is not there for reverts. Either you are the only Muslim at home, so the rest of the family don't even know what you're talking about, or you stay alone. So that sense of family is not there. And also, you might be staying very far from a mosque. So as much as you'd want to break your Ramadan, I mean your fasting with fellow Muslims, you don't have that luxury. So there's a lot of loneliness. And as I think I also listened to one lady, of course, shaitan will always be whispering in your ear. Do you have to do it? After all, no one is watching you. Break it, you know. And as Allah, I think, tells us, and from the teachings of Islam, that one of the acts of ibadah in Islam that is purely between you and Allah is fasting. Because if you hide, you go uko nyuma and eat, and then come back looking like you're still fasting, the human being will not know. But it's between you and Allah. So there's loneliness, there's isolation, there's even rejection. And then the other challenge with reverts is, for example, if you're still staying with your family, can you imagine it's time for iftar and they might have made a meal that is haram. So you're breaking your fast, unaenda nyumbani, unafika wametengeneza pork sausages and I don't know what. So first you have to break your fast, but the food is haram. But that's your family and that's what they eat. So some of these things, when we mention them, born Muslims are like, "Ay, wacha." You're like, it's real. We are lonely during Ramadan. Most of the time you are alone. The food at home is an issue. It's not halal. Number three, your family is wondering what's wrong with you. You have become an extremist.
They'll be like, you want to kill yourself.
Yes, you've become an extremist. How can you not eat for almost 12, 13 hours just because of faith?
And not only for one day, for good 30 days.
For a whole month. So there's that. And then lack of knowledge also. I can mention that for new Muslims. You know, we are told so many crazy things. So many new Muslims think at aftarini, mahamri, you know, the pocho of Swahili food. No. Me being a Luya, hata kukula ugali na skuma during iftar is fine. You don't have to worry that you have to do pilau and biryani.
So that's a worry that you see. You see Muslims, they, you know, they decorate their
tables. So unakuja nyumbani, remember you are alone. You only have unga ya ugali and you have skuma wiki or whatever, and maybe some eggs, and you're thinking this is not the food to eat. during Ramadan. So a lot of misconceptions that need to be demystified for new Muslims. But I guess I can only encourage them that it will get better with time. And then also, I think I like what Jamia did with the reverts. I think last week on Thursday, where they went through fasting. So we normally encourage, I know Ramadan is just a few days away, inshallah, but we say that don't, even for a new Muslim, don't only be waiting for Ramadan. Try and do those voluntary fasts, the Mondays, the Thursdays, the 3 white days during the month, kama kuna Ashura and all that, so that your body gets used to fasting, so that you don't undergo so much stress. Yeah, so it's something that needs to be an ongoing process. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we witnessed, and out of their own sentiments, saying that it was tough, it was hard, but everything, you know, he used to tell me it's a teething problem.
Yes.
You'll overcome it.
Yes.
One time, inshallah. Yes. And Jamia Mosque as well held that program in partnership with Masjid Al-Amin,
yes,
on all about Q&A, question and answer session for these reverts and everything. And you took part in it as well. Yes. Maybe what were the some of the, which we born Muslim, we see it's simple for us,
yes,
but these reverts, they say like it's a big issue for us.
One of the biggest issues that came out during the discussion, and I was part of the team that was organizing that event, we did a survey.
Yes.
We actually did a survey prior to the event so that we capture the main issues that reverts go through. And top on the list, I've even written it down here,
yes,
is rejection, loneliness, isolation of reverts or new Muslims, and the need for social and psychological support. So for rejection, could be from family and relatives and friends. Loneliness, I've just touched a bit of it, like during Ramadan.
Yeah.
You're the only one at home. You're the one who has to wake up during Fajr. You don't have anyone to wake up and say to swali, you're alone. If you're a man and you need to go to the mosque is very far. You don't even know your prayers, and there's no one to ask. So that loneliness and rejection issue came out very prominently, and that also goes with isolation.
Okay.
So, and that's two-way. There are reverts who isolate themselves from their family and their previous life, and the reverts who are forced by family to isolate themselves.
Okay.
So rejection, loneliness, and isolation came out, both for both men and women, for both young and old. Very many. In fact, the weekend before we had the last week, I was actually alerted by a sister, a practical issue. There's a sister who had been rejected by her family. She got married when she became a Muslim. Her marriage had not worked, so she was divorced. She was rejected from her home. She had nowhere to go. And number 3, she had been diagnosed with cancer. So what was she contemplating? She was actually contemplating suicide because she had nowhere to go. And that was practical. And we had to switch into action. You saw one of the speakers during the event was Councillor Riziki.
Yes.
We had to look for Councillor Riziki to talk to her because the issue of suicide in Islam is just to calm her. And we told Councillor Riziki to look for her team within the medical field so she can be admitted into some hospital so that we can start taking care of her. So you can see it's not theory. The rejection, the loneliness, the isolation, even the attempt to take one's life because everything is overwhelming is something that reverts go through.
Apart from organizing such halakas so that we can discuss these matters, maybe what are some of the other ways that you can recommend so that at least the reverts can get help?
One of the things that still came out during the discussion, and it has come out through many other forums, is, you know, the way we have those rescue centers. The story of FGM, say, in Maasai land and northern eastern part of Kenya, where girls are literally picked from their homes and they are taken to an institution so that they are not married off early or they don't undergo FGM. We need such centers for Muslims who have embraced Islam and are facing tough times at home. They can go there for some time so that they're in an Islamic environment, and then they can learn their deen, but they can have a peace of mind to practice their faith. So it's a call to Jamia, the mosque, Masjid Al-Amin, and all other players, including Riziki, who is a medic, that we have to find a way of supporting reverts. We can't just have a one-off session in Jamia, we disappear for the next 6 months. We have to keep it going. And I think one of the takeouts from the discussions was we have to build support structures around rivers. And maybe I can mention this, Gadaffi.
Yes,
we've been told so many times, and even as we were going on with that discussion, someone I remember I tweeted on my page, and someone answered me back, why do you keep calling yourselves rivers?
Yes,
you're just Muslims. And yet what I've just told you is not something you have gone through if the rest of your family is Muslim. Yeah, no one is rejecting you. You are not lonely. You're supported by friends and family. But I stand out as a sore thumb in my family during Eid and also during Christmas, because when the rest of the family is celebrating, me nimekaa kando. So they think, what's wrong with you? You are a loner. You don't. Eid is an issue. Christmas is an issue. Uko na msimamo gani? You get. So mosques like Jamia and Masjid Al-Amin and all the other mosques have to have this, and we agreed either we'll be doing it quarterly, just the open discussion, that's number one. Jamia has rivers classes. We encourage Jamia to introduce those same rivers classes under the same curriculum into, we call them satellite mosques. So whatever Jamia is doing here, they should introduce it somewhere in Rongai, somewhere in Ngong, somewhere, somewhere on Thika Road, somewhere in Kitengela, so that rivers don't have to come. They don't have to come to Jamia. They can do it from wherever. And also online classes. They should introduce online classes.
And I think that's well. And I think, according to time, I think we are about to wind up the show. But before that, I want you to come straight. We speak. I've heard that you have something that you want to showcase about what can help our kids back at home, so that at least they can have the good Islamic values about on the good charity things that they can do, on the good things that at least by helping a parent. And I think this, you as a parent or you as a viewer who is watching, after getting the full information and full chart that you're going to see represented, or Ummi, she's going to show it as, she's going to present it for us, so that at least we can understand better, and at least we can know like what are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to Ramadan. You as a parent, how should you take good care of your son, of your daughters, of your children in general, and also neighbors? Because some of the times we forget to teach our children these values, and they end up doing things which are not making sense. How can you appreciate or make your child to feel safe, to feel like this Ramadan, it's all about having fun, it's all about feeling good, despite it is ibadah? How are you going to do this? Ummi, she's here to solve this solution. It was a puzzle earlier, but now I think the parents and those who are watching, they're going to find a solution on how this thing is going to be done. Ummi, what's happening? I see be kind this Ramadan, good deeds for children will be rewarded. MashaAllah. And for the parents and everyone. Please tell us.
Thank you. So I'm feeling like a teacher in a class. So this chart is actually during Ramadan, most of us, if we are parents, we actually, the father is thinking of his taraweh, where will I be doing my prayers? The mom is basically thinking maybe iftar and all other activities, but we almost forget the children. How are we going to engage the children during Ramadan? So this chart, courtesy of Tijara, an Islamic gift shop, is actually giving the children from day 1 to day 30 an activity per day. So an activity that the child will do, but at the end of each day, they'll have fun, they'll enjoy Ramadan, but inshallah, they will also get rewards from Allah, both in this dunya and akhirah. So if I can pick a few of the activities. For like day 1, we are saying help mommy prepare the iftar meal. So the next time mommy tells you, kuja unisaidia kutengeneza, don't make a face and roll your eyes. It's actually an opportunity for ibadah. We are encouraging children, if they have some toys, extra toys, we say day 2, pack them nicely in a box and give to an orphan. You know, a child who doesn't have the toys that you have. So maybe you've outgrown the toys even, you're not using them. So you can give them to a child. Day 3, you know, the issue of coin banks and keeping money. So we want to just take a little bottle at home, if you don't have one already, and pick hizo coins, loose change, sijui zimetoka wapi jikoni, there's some coins lying around, put them in a bottle, and then on Friday, within Ramadan, you give them out as sadaqah. And then some things maybe I want to mention. Imagine if you volunteer to take care of your baby sister or your baby brother. It's ibadah. So don't do it because mom has said or dad said do it.
Yes.
Make the intention yourself. If there are dishes to be cleaned, volunteer to wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Don't wait to be asked. So what we want is the parents to engage their children so that the normal things they do, you know, in Islam we are told everything is judged by intention.
Yes.
Look at this. I found this very interesting. That you can put water outside and put some grains like rice, beans, maize. Weka tu hapo nje. When the birds come and eat, when the birds come and take that water, it's ibadah. You'll be rewarded for it.
Yes.
So the activities are 25. No more issues like switch off the lights in your room. Yeah? Clean your room.
Yes.
Is ibadah. Plant a tree.
Smile to everyone.
Yes, smile every day. Decide today you're just smiling from huku. People wonder, is there something crazy with you? But you say, I'm doing ibadah. There's one here that also makes very exciting. Call and chat with your cousins.
Yes.
So the next time you haven't spoken to your cousin since when? I don't know.
Yeah.
So ask mommy or daddy and say, I want to speak to cousin Hafsa. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. It's ibadah. If your grandparents are still alive, please call them and chat with them. They don't have to be your grandparents. They could be your uncles. They could be your aunties. They could be anyone else in your family that you've not spoken to.
And that making Eid cards for your family and friends.
Yes, towards the end of Ramadan, inshallah, now the children can be guided towards doing activities that will be towards Eid.
Okay.
So there's one here, make Eid cards for your family and friends. So what are we doing? We're encouraging children to be creative. We're encouraging children to know how to even make Eid cards, yeah? We are saying, buy a gift for an orphan. Normally towards the end of Ramadan watu wanaenda sijui ni wapi Isli kufanya shopping. So while you're buying shopping for your children, your child should tell you, Mommy, can we buy something for an orphan? Yeah? Make decorations. You know times are hard. Hii uchumi ni ngumu. So you can actually improvise at home through paper, some papers and foil and all. You can actually create your own and create the Eid mood around the home. And then, of course, I love this, the last one, so that we teach our children the issue of being grateful, that the last wording should be Alhamdulillah for the gift of Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah, but I want you to tackle on two things maybe. There's something, pick rubbish around your home, and these clean the table after iftar. You know, most of the homes, we have aunties, and some people, the Swahilis, say we have dada nyumbani. So we feel like we as children, these are not our work. Ini kazi ya auntie. CCC. Maybe encourage the parents.
Actually, it's not even, the issue is not the children. The issue is the parents.
Okay.
It's the parents who say, auntie this, auntie that, while the children are seated somewhere watching TV or something. So what we want is first, it should come from the parent to encourage the child. So maybe day one, because hajawahi osha vyombo, atashanga mbona leo unaniambia kuosha vyombo, sio? But the parent should encourage and say, you know what, I want you to wash the dishes because it's Ramadan, so I want you to earn some rewards, right? And let auntie rest. When auntie rests, it's ibadah, and you'll be rewarded for it. So I hear you. Our parents also need to encourage the children that it's normal for you to clean around the home. It's not always auntie. It's normal for you to clean the table after you finish. Many children eat anacha hapo sahani, anairusha hapo, hata hajui kupeleka kwa sink. This is one way of encouraging. And maybe one thing I would caution is we are not limiting these acts to just Ramadan. We want these acts to start within Ramadan
and to spread even after.
Yes, to be a lifestyle.
Okay, thank you so much, Ummi. I think due out of time, we are out of time currently, and my producer is like, I have to sign out, and we don't have much to say. But all I can tell you, my viewer who is watching back from home, you can get the chart from Tijara Duka. That is, it is along Jamia, Apo Jamia Mall.
Yes, no, this building where actually we have Horizon, Jamia Plaza.
Yes, Jamia Plaza. You can
the building
get it,
with the
Tijara Duka, and you can have it, and it will help you also to make your children improve on their akhlaq as well. I'm winding up the show. I don't have much to say. All I have to do is to thank you for watching Horizon TV from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And as well, I thank you, Ummi, also for showing up and also trying to lighten our heads with this type of information. And also thanks to our sign language interpreter, Mariam Jamaluddin, and you, my beloved viewer, and each and every person who took part in preparing this program till it reached you back home. Till next time, next Friday, my name is Abdurrahman Gadaffi Yassin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.